Welcome back to Central View. It's now time to visit Steve in his lab as he has a new video game review.
Welcome to this week's edition of In the Lab. I'm your host, Steve Welsh, and this week I'm reviewing Sony PlayStation's exclusive Little Big Planet, where you play a sack boy roaming around the planet looking for objects, costumes, stickers, and whatnot to decorate his own little world. Little Big Planet is one of Sony PlayStation 3's big three exclusive games to be released in 2008, the first two being Metal Gear Solid 4 and Resistance 2, but both being rated mature. This is the game that's rated E for everybody to get the whole family in on the fun. You play a sack boy or one of his fellow sack people as they start out in Europe and travel all around the world collecting different costumes, different items, different stickers that you can use throughout the game for your own fun. Now, getting into the gameplay, this game is a side-scrolling platforming game. Time jumps, box pushing and pulling, problem-solving elements you've seen in all these other platforming games, but it has a little twist to it. There is 3 dimensions to this game, not only in the level design, but there's a foreground, middle ground, and a background that you can move your character into. So even though something looks like scenery to you, it probably isn't, and that means you can get behind and collect more items that other people might not have noticed. In this potential game of the year for the PlayStation 3, the level design is one of the key features. They're very unique and ingenious with their traps, springs, explosive levers, buttons, hidden objects, catapults, and all kinds of individual characteristics per level, depending on which continent you're playing at the time. Might be hopping onto a rocket-powered vehicle, or might be hitching a ride from a wild animal in the African safari. Just depends where you are in the world and what features the game wanted to express. Continuing on the thought of great ideas of level design, like bats to grab to take you up to higher objects you need to get to, or jetpacks possibly, depending on which continent you're on. One of the most ingenious things that Media Molecule, the company that made the game, came up with is the most originative opening credit scene I've ever seen in a video game, where you actually play as your characters, however many people are playing, and you run through the opening credits as it's at an actual level. The faces in the background are the people who created the game. Their names pop up, you get to see them and say, hey, thanks for creating this game for me, and as you run through the level with Sackboy. And it actually works as a tutorial too, telling you which controls do what, and works very well, and it's a great opener to a video game. Basically, it's a side-scrolling game, so left and right on the joystick will get you where you need to go. X is jump, right one, if you're playing with another person, is how you grab them. You can pull them along in the level, mess with them if you want, or that's how you grab and push and pull boxes. And what's needed, buttons you just jump on using X as usual. But one of the very original controls that this game has is, I like to call them the dancing controls. If you're holding L2 and R2, your character will spin, look at the screen, look right at you, and each one of those controls an arm. But on top of that, probably the best use of the 6-axis I've seen yet in a PlayStation 3 game is if you move the controller in any direction, forward, back, tilted to the left, tilted to the right, up and down, the head or the waist of your own sack person will react along with the arm action, getting them so at the end of the level you can celebrate by dance, turn the butter, whatever you want to do. There's all kinds of different things you can do, and it's a very neat and very fun control in the game. Alright, the only real complicated thing about the controls, that might take a while to get down, is the pop-it box. So when you're in-game, it acts as your master control screen. You press the square button, it'll pop up, and you move around, and that's where you can get to your tools, your cursors, find your objects. It's where you can do all your costume changes. Your try again button, because you will eventually get stuck in some spots, and it's impossible to get out if you don't have a teammate to help you. And there's also a handy little option called the heart things, which is basically acts as a quick referencing system or bookmarking if you're on like a web browser. You can go through, mark anything, your favorite costumes, mark your favorite objects, your favorite tools that you use throughout the game, heart it, and then it'll be right on your quick menu. Grab it anytime you need for quick reference, so you don't have to go through the big lists, because there are going to be a lot of things that you pick up in this game. Another one of the key components that you look for in any next-generation system game is the graphics. How do they look in this game? Because you see side-scrolling, so you're not going to expect much. They're actually very beautiful 3D environments, and they depict each continent well throughout the game, so you can tell immediately what continent you're on, depending on which level you're playing in. Another key aspect, the sound and music. This game has some of the catchiest music I've heard in a video game in a long, long time. Depending on which level you're playing in, you'll hear African jungle beats, or you hear South American mariachi music. It's very diverse and sounds fantastic. And speaking of the sounds in the game, one of the best parts is that any of the tutorial screens you come to, Stephen Fry, the narrator for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, does all the tutorials for this video game. So if you're a nerd like me, you'll appreciate that. It has like a nice English accent to it, sounds very pompous and hilarious, and it'll keep you entertained throughout the game.
And crash bang wallop, what a picture. Imagination
So when it comes down to it this Christmas season, whether you're a college student looking for a new game to play or a parent looking for something to buy for your child, put down that Wii controller and pick up a PS3 controller, because I'm giving Little Big Planet 5 zebra stripe sack people out of 5.